Hello, hello, hello. You are live once again on a hot Tuesday in Buckeye, Arizona with Dave Jose. And I wanted to come and drop some super hot fire to you guys about maladministration. Guys, I want to let you know that if you want major victory and you want to stop all government corruption, the number one thing that you need to know and the number one thing that you need to outline and show in bad government is maladministration. Guys, we don't need to be proving that somebody committed fraud. We don't need to be proving that somebody is a racist or somebody is trying to purposely destroy the government. We don't need to prove that somebody has a bad attitude. We don't have to prove that somebody's unfair. We don't need to talk about that. We don't need to be focused on unjust policies or things that have to do with feelings and emotion. But guys, the number one way to fight all together is to deal with the idea of maladministration. First of all, what is administration? Administration is going to be the way that a government gives services, right? How they control the flow of products and services and different things for the people. And it also has to do with how government is going to be ran in order to serve the people, right? Now, what we need to understand is that administration of government is based on a couple of things. First of all, it is based on the fundamental principles of law, starting with the bills and declarations of rights in every state. So when you have a bill of declaration or declaration of rights, it is the people telling what rights are reserved to them that the government has no power over. This means the government is without any authority or power to write any legislation or make any rules at all to go against these rights. Now, what we got to understand is every single government worker who came into office has already sworn when they take the position that they will never go against these fundamental rights or these common law rights or these common rights that come from the common law, or these constitutional rights, which are common rights, which are common law rights, because it came from the common law based on the Bible. Many will try to hide that from you, but we have shown time and time again that's exactly where it came from. We also take it a little bit deeper because we also show you that these rights are reserved for the people. That means they're untouchable. Reserved doesn't mean they're just telling you they exist. Reserve literally means we've delegated some powers, but we have kept away certain powers and excluded it out of the powers of government so that they know and swear to the fact that they are not to touch these at all. They know that they have no authority over it. They can't deal with it. They can only protect it, right, with all that they have, and they swear to do so. Now let's take it a little bit further. So we have the declarations and bills of rights, which are the laws that are common to all men in every state. We then have what's called the frame of government. And the frame of government is actually the part of the Constitution that delegates authorities, tell who's going to do what with what duties and obligations. These things are mandatory. The obligations and duties in the Constitution are mandatory and guaranteed. You cannot get around it. So if we're going to make any arguments about something we don't want to have happen, we first should use the highest law, the constitutions, to knock out any argument they have over going against any one of our rights. Anything else doesn't really make sense. Now, under the Constitution, right, under the Declarations and Bills of Rights and the frame of the Constitution, which tells how everything has to be done in general, what's next is the statute, which in detail explains each step the government worker is going to do to make it easy for them to keep up with everything. That's all it is, statutory bylaws. Now, the statutory bylaws tell the duties and obligations in greater detail that a government worker must do. Now, we want them to follow their duties and obligations. We don't want to make arguments about anything else. Why are we making an argument about what's the most healthy? Why are we making an argument about if there's an emergency or not? Why are we making an argument about all these different things when what we should be focusing on is what duties and obligations do you have? Do they follow the Constitution and not touch our rights? Okay, if you're doing anything else, it's maladministration. We're going to give you notice of it or affidavits of it, and we're going to come after you and make sure you're made aware of what it is that you're doing wrong. To get out here and make arguments about which shot is the best, what health, system might be the best, all these different political things, it makes no difference, guys, when the law says what these people are to do in their duties and obligations. Now, guys, the maxims of law, which I've shown you before, clearly say that the greatest bond between that of men is an oath. So an oath binds you to someone else. Well, these people are already made an oath to us. So I want to go and look at some of the oaths so you can understand how serious this is and how we're getting tricked into looking at the law backward or looking at the law wrong. Most attorneys want to talk to us about procedural things, how we're going to do a procedure to correct somebody, how we're going to do a procedure to make it right. What if we don't have enough money? How much is it going to cost to implement this and all that? They're not worried about the cost when they're stealing your stuff, but they want to talk about the cost when they got to do something to protect the people's rights or restore them their property. How much is it going to cost to restore property? What about don't take it in the first place? Because you're going against the law and your oath. So let's look at some of the oaths, guys, so we can get an understanding. Okay, guys, so for example, we have Article 6, Section 26 that shows the oath for justices, judges, right, and justice of the peace. So let's see, Article 6, Section 26, Oath of Office. Each justice, judge, and justice of the peace shall, before entering upon the duties of his office, take and subscribe to an oath. Remember, this is the greatest bond between men. That he will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Arizona. And that he will, this is an important word, faithfully. Now, guys, when we're dealing with maladministration, if they are given duties and obligations and they decide not to turn over ballots to the treasurer, if they decide to cheat on how they work with nursing homes and go against the statutory law that's in place that binds them, this is what they're doing. They're not any longer being faithful to the oath. Watch this. And impartially discharge the duties of his office to the best of his ability. Now, guys, if you are taking money from someone telling you to shut people down, force people to wear masks, you're taking money from federal programs where they're going to try to get people fired from their jobs, there is no way with your unclean hands that you can be impartial. This is why we fight the way that we fight. And I have designed by God the type of battle that we have created against this stuff. Watch this. So, and that he will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of his office to the best of his ability. The problem we have is most people who are fighting these bad things have not looked at the duties and obligations these people have promised to faithfully, faithful to the people, faithfully and impartially discharge. This is our problem. They swore to it. Why not let's deal with that? Why can't we just deal with those issues? The oath of all judges of courts inferior to the superior court and the oath of justices of the peace shall be filed in the offices of the county recorder. And the oath of all other justices and judges shall be filed in the office of the Secretary of State. So guys, notice that most people do not hit this issue. They'll say they're going against their oath, but won't look at the fact that they are to faithfully and impartially discharge the duties we give them. They are obligated to it. It is guaranteed and a must. Okay, guys, and this is from azledge.gov, is Statute 28-231. Officers and employees required to take loyalty oath, form, classification, definition, A. In order to ensure the statewide application of this section on a uniform basis, each board, commission, agency, and independent office of this state and of any of its political subdivisions and of any county, city, town, municipal corporation, school district, and public educational institution, this is those people in those school boards, guys, shall completely reproduce this section so that the form of written oath or affirmation required in this section contains all of the provisions of this section for use by all officers and employees of all boards, commissions, agencies, and independent officers. Any officer or employee who fails to take and subscribe to the oath or affirmation provided by this section within the time limits prescribed by this section is not entitled to any compensation until the officer or employee does so take and subscribe to the form of oath or affirmation prescribed by this section. So guys, understand, they're taking a loyalty oath to the people. Now, we see on November 3rd that these people changed the way that government would work, created new law. They pretty much overthrew the form of government that we have by changing law without the permission of the people, right? Without the legislature. And then what they did is they told people pretty much, shut up, you're Nazis if you talk bad about what we do. And they're just pretty much forcing their power on the people that they don't have. Watch letter C. Any officer or employee having taken the form of oath or affirmation prescribed by this section and knowingly at the time of subscribing to the oath or affirmation or at any time thereafter during the officer's or employee's term of office or employment does commit or aid in the commission of any act to overthrow by force, violence, or terrorism as defined in section 13.2301, the government of this state or of any of its political subdivisions or advocates the overthrow by force, violence, or terrorism as defined in this section 13.2301 of the government of this state or any of the political subdivisions is guilty of a class 4 felony. And on conviction under this section, the officer or employee is deemed discharged from the office or employment and is not entitled to any additional compensation or any other emoluments or benefits which have been incident or appurtenant to the office or employment. Now, guys, what we got to understand is what's happening is these people, let's say the school boards are getting mad and saying, we're going to call the FBI to go against parents who protest. Guys, they are using terrorism. They're using a private entity that has no charter to try to go after the parents for standing up for their rights. And they're kicking them out of meetings by force. They don't want them to speak. They're being rough towards them. Not good, guys. So if we understand this, we should be using it. Let's go down to section E. In addition to any other form of oath or affirmation specifically provided by law for an officer or employee before any officer or employee enters upon the duties of the office of employment, the officer or employee shall take and subscribe the following oath or affirmation. State of Arizona, county of, I, your name, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona. That's those statutes, guys, that are for them. And that's the Constitution that binds them. That I will bear true faith. Not some funny business, guys, not cheating, not doing what you want to do based on your own ideas, but they're going to bear true faith and allegiance to the same and defend them all against all enemies. Well, if you're changing the law because somebody told you to, or you're locking down the people because somebody gave you some money, you are not having allegiance to the people. You are actually working with people trying to remove the rights of the people. Watch this. Foreign and domestic, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the office of, name the office, right? According to the best of my ability, so help me God, or so I do affirm. So guys, what you got to understand is these people are swearing that they're not going to go against the statute or the Constitution. So if we're going to deal with issues, guys, we should be dealing with maladministration. When they say what they have to do in the law and in the Constitution, and they swear to do it, and then they take money to do it, and then they don't do it, they are breaking the law. If they attack you or try to force you as the people who are beneficiaries of the Constitution, right, and trust protectors, they are actually overrunning the people's rights of the state. The people are the ones who created the state. So when you go against the people, you're attacking the very Constitution you swore to. Now let's look at F. For the purposes of this section, officer or employee means any person elected, appointed, or employed either on a part-time or full-time basis by the state or any of its political subdivisions or any county, city, town, municipal corporation, school district, public educational institution, or any board, commission, or agency of any country, city, town, municipal corporation, school district, or public educational institution. So guys, the school boards, the governor, the legislature, all of these people are bound, guys. And when they attack you, they're committing a felony. So guys, it's time that we stand up and use maladministration because this is good stuff. Okay, guys, so let's realize now that we have been getting the government officials to follow the law. We have gotten the federal legislature to go after the Department of Justice for even helping the school boards do wrong. A lot of the people on these school boards have backroom connections and open doors through federal partnerships with the Fed. They know each other. We found out that Merrick Garland had some issues with conflicts of interest with his family members and I think critical race theory. But on top of that, anyone who would use the FBI to punish parents who have a right to protest, that's maladministration and actually treason. It's going against the office that you swore to protect and the people you swore to protect. It's aiding enemies, foreign or domestic. Guys, we got to understand that this is the best way to fight against those who are doing wrong. There's no reason to go and talk about health and talk about what some scientist has to say when the law says what these government officials must do. And when the Constitution says it's your choice to take care of your health, it's your choice to deal with your private health decisions, it's your choice to deal with your children and taking them to church and how you're going to do things. These people for too long have been slick. But we see like a good sheriff in Wisconsin standing up and fighting against people who broke statute. Why? Because they have an oath that they swore to, that they bound themselves. You want to talk about sovereign citizen? The greatest sovereign citizen in the world is the one who swore to follow a statute and won't do it. Guys, they'll say, oh, well, when people in the world say, well, that statute doesn't apply to me, they want to act like it applies to everybody. But when they swear to something, they're going to just dismiss their duty to faithfully carry those duties out. Guys, giving the ballots to the treasurer in Arizona, which the board of supervisors were supposed to do, when they did not do it, it was maladministration. When they changed election law without the legislature, maladministration. When they decide to use the school boards to make up policies and ideas and do things with your children that the people don't agree to, maladministration. When they want to act like the Constitution doesn't count and actually says that to you, it is treason. They are going directly against the oath that they made in the Constitution. Guys, we should be challenging everybody on this. This is the way to take things to the next level. You see, it's been working all over the country. We've been bringing a lot of smoke and a lot of fire, and nobody has been able to stop us. So join in, step up. This video is yours. Maladministration is the way. I have proven it to you and shown it to you in the law. You can find these things in every single state, and they ain't getting away. Bring them PCAPs. Bring that smoke. The people got it. And with God, we ain't no joke. Let's go, baby. Let's go. This video is yours.